our best conversations are always in between commercials, but we'll keep that here. And we appreciate Jafar's sense of humor. He has that. And I guess you have to have that in this business. So you cannot.
Do.
Now, Darryl Hazel is Coach Hazel is about as serious a looking guy as you would. I mean, he's always so well put together. Always has things looking forward. Is he a funny guy?
He is at times. He does have a good personality. You got to get it out of him sometimes.
Yeah.
But
you don't have that problem.
No, I don't have that problem. The best guy on our staff, though, is Coach Shoup. He's amazing. He's probably the best storyteller you've ever met in your life. When he starts to tell a story, everybody's just.
It's that beard, though. You think he's down. You think he's. Well,
he has some stories from the NFL that you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He has that drawl too. He
So he's from Oakmont, Pennsylvania, but he's
but he could
like
be a Tennessee or
West
side of North Carolina or wherever he's. No, he was on the show a couple weeks ago. He's probably my favorite interviews, just because he's you can tell he's giving it to you a little bit on that front. He's playing it some, but he's a very, very intelligent guy, and he has to keep the staff room. So you guys aren't. It's not all. You do have a chance to at least have your sense of humor come out in the staff room, the offensive staff room. You have different personalities. Coach Bridge is an intense guy, and he's a line guy. But
well, you have to. You spend so much time in that room.
Yeah.
Guys have to be able to express themselves, and you'd be amazed what goes on in the staff room sometimes. Yeah. It's not like the real world. It's probably not like the business world, I would say.
I can do a behind-the-scenes story. Just let me know.
That would be good. And you have a new member too with Coach Malone too in that situation too, where you have somebody that you have to welcome into the fold. Does that take time, just knowing what people are like and how that all comes to pass?
It does, but I think we've had a lot of college coaching in general is really a small group. So he was actually hired at Maryland by Ron Vanderlyn, so we know a lot of the same people just off of that. And Sean Payton was actually on that staff. It's amazing how that worked out. Sean Payton ended up leaving, going to the Eagles or something like that. And then he has a relationship with Coach Bridge, so it's almost like we didn't miss a beat and we all know each other.
Yeah. So in 15 years for Jafar Williams, he'll be doing what? You always want to say, I know this is your job, you want to win championships here. I get all that, but does NFL? I mean, what's a dream job for you?
I definitely want to be a head coach at the highest level, regardless if that's college or the NFL. You never know. The one thing is appreciate the job you have, stay employed, work hard, and then figure out the rest from there. But definitely want to be a head coach down the road.
How much of that, obviously John is the coordinator, John calls the plays, but how much of that as a young coach who's coming along in the business, do they pull you in on some of that? And do you guys have conversations where you're able to learn and kind of share things?
Yeah, well, I'm very fortunate to be in a room with so much experienced guys. But, just take a game week, for instance. I mean, each coach is responsible for a different segment. I may have short yardage and goal line. Coach Parker may have third down. So your ideas are thrown into a pot. Now, obviously, Coach Shoup is the one who's going to make those decisions. And what are we going to do? What are we going to take? But every coach is really assigned to a specific situation, which gives you some ownership and gives you some input in game planning.
And you still get to do – are you still doing the head coach of the week thing?
Yes, and that's awesome. I think that may be one of the best things that I've been a part of as far as developing yourself as a coach. You get an opportunity to get in front of the team and talk to, and present your message and your vision for that week. I think that's awesome.
Is it scouting report? I mean, it's obviously the scouting report is so varied by position, but what specifically, what do you have to do when you're coach of the week? You address the team, but what is your specific role? And is it a different role on game day too? You know what?
Game day, Coach Hazel handles it, but you get an appreciation for how hard it is.
Yeah.
You think it's easy sometimes, like being a head coach, and then you're a head coach that week. It's like, man, I got to manage this and then do that and then get this ready. So your head's spinning the whole day. Like, what if I had to do this every single week?
But that's what you want to do someday.
So you get an appreciation for how much thought goes into, preparing a team mentally and physically just for a week.
The position coaches get to do a lot of the developmental stuff, though, right? I mean, head coach kind of oversees. I mean, you get your hands on these guys and can really mold them, which is going to be really important for you to do specifically.
Yeah.
This year, if we can just break down maybe some of the guys that you have, even though there's not a number one, Keontae is the guy who does have the most carries, I think, probably of the group, and actually game snaps for the offense. What is that going to mean for him? Does that give him any kind of an edge?
I think the only edge it gives him is to have a little bit of experience, game experience. It's one thing to, be in practice and do it, but when the lights are on, he's made some plays in game situations, so he's not going to have that same nervousness that DJ Knox or Markel's going to have when they first step onto the field. So he has some sort of comfort, but he needs to just be a physical presence and continue to do that. He's a guy who could lean forward and hopefully get you 2 more yards on every run.
DJ Knox has at least had that experience of crushing somebody on the field, which he did a few times in special teams. I mean, that helps too. Just being on the field and having that opportunity is going to make a difference for him. And he at least knows what it feels like to play in a college game.
Yeah, well, he's played on special teams, so sometimes people look at that as a negative, but to me, as a coach, that guy has gotten game experience in some aspect. So he'll come in and hopefully be able to contribute right away. But DJ is such a, it's weird. He's such a explosive guy in short areas. He could same foot, same shoulder a guy and just create a great pop. He's really, really powerful in those short situations.
I love
my
those.
vote.
What's that?
I've gone
As a
on
starter?
record. Yeah, he's my vote.
Okay.
I love these.
I just like him.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's a likable guy too. Now
Yeah.
they call him. I think they call him like Kevin Hart. Or one of the
Yeah.
parents. One of the parents on a recruiting weekend said that he reminds her of Kevin Hart. But I actually went to school with Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
We were actually in school at the same time.
that's crazy.
I love the
Not
term.
just DJ's
Oh, I was
personality. I like
gonna say,
DJ's personality, but not just that. But I mean, and we've talked about how, because when we go to practice and watch, I mean, the way he played for the scout team offense, to me, is what stuck out. I mean, you see guys who are just like, man, I'm on the scout team. I'm done. I'm going to give up. I'm not going to play hard. But you seem like every day he was out there practicing how you want guys to practice. And so that's what stuck out to me, is why one of the reasons I really like him.
He's a prideful guy now too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that his height has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I
he's
can
a
relate.
very prideful guy.
Yeah. No, I was going to say I like the term same foot, same shoulder, but I always want you guys to explain it when you talk, because there's certain things when you guys watch film and be able to look at really who's producing it. The rest of us that are really not trained to look at that kind of thing. What does same foot, same shoulder mean?
Well, really, it's the ability for a guy to step with his play side foot and play side shoulder and really deliver a blow. So you always want to see guys who, sometimes you get guys you say, is he afraid of contact? Because he's always getting hit. He's never delivering the hit. So with guys like DJ, he is running to try to hit somebody. So you like that. And he's always same foot, same shoulder in the guy. And like I said, he's just very explosive in short areas.
Yeah. We talked about the same relative sameness of some of the guys that are coming back, but you also have Tario Fuller and Richie Worship that will be coming into fall camp, obviously, for next year as part of the class of 2015. What are we going to see in those guys, maybe early on or at least down the road?
Well, I'm really excited about Tario. I got an opportunity to watch him. What sold me on Tario was when I went to practice and I saw him compete in practice. And I remember sending a text message to one of our coaches saying, this guy's got it. He has that edge to him that you want. I felt like he could come in right now and compete. But he is the other thing that's intriguing is he's only been playing running back for 2 years. So you're getting a guy who you can completely mold, and really, hopefully, he can just keep making steps in the right direction. Where Richard's just a big bruiser, and we need guys like him on our team. So hopefully, he comes in and is able to contribute as well.
How much of a factor is that when you have a guy, and I'm just using this as an example with Markel Jones, who ran for 3 bajillion yards, really, at Columbus, but has habits. He's touched the ball a lot. Maybe he does everything the way you want to. Maybe he doesn't. But is that a hard thing to break guys that are used to having tremendous success at a different level, and they come in and you're going to have to mold them to what you want, but they also may have some bad habits they got away with in high school?
Well, I hope he wants the ball, and
Yeah.
I hope we can
Yeah.
get him the ball.
Yeah.
I think the approach that you take with guys like Markel, who had so much production, and like you said, video game type numbers, is that I want you to have that production here.
Yeah.
And it's really his opportunity to show what he can do. If he rushes for 3,000 yards,
Yeah, be good.
But no, obviously there's going to be things you have to clean up, but you can see those things in 6 a.m.s, and I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, he seems like a very, I mean, as we've said probably every show, it seems like since the signing day, any kid that can fly a plane or is interested in doing that is okay by me.
Yeah, exactly.
Have we been saying that?
I have. I've said it a couple of times.
He's
I
already
assume
been
it's
up,
me.
yeah.
Oh, I know. He
Yeah.
flew on National Signing Day, right? So that was impressive to me.
We are giving a lot of talk to those top 3 guys, which you and I talked about, earlier this week too. But Yancey is a guy who he was hurt last year, had surgery, and Keith Byers is a guy we haven't really seen a lot of. I mean, what? I don't want to. I'm being careful how I phrase this question. What do you need to see from those 2 guys? I mean, for
To
them
get
to
in
really
there.
make a move, because like we said, those other 3 guys kind of stick out right now. How do they, kind of push their way into that group?
Well, the thing about Byers is here's a good story. I had a good friend of mine who's a coach at another Division I school. He came into practice last year, and he watched practice. And when we got into the meeting room, he said, "Who do you think I'm going to ask you about?" I said, "I don't know," but I kind of had an idea. He said, "Who's number 4?" I said, "That's Byers." He said, "That guy has a lot of juice," and he really does. He's an explosive guy. He plays extremely hard. The thing that I talked about him is he has to play under control more, and sometimes he's so all over the place with just his body and how he runs and how he picks it. He has to be under control a little bit more, but he definitely has a lot of talent.
Yeah, and Yancey's a kid that the spring game and had before his injury is he too a guy that physically is there. I mean, from a size standpoint, but maybe it all depends on how you want to utilize him or if he's going to get that opportunity to do so.
I think there's a void now specifically for a guy like David Yancey. So a guy who can carry the ball a little bit, but also a guy who is a great blocker in my mind, a guy who also can go out into the flat and catch balls. He has really good hands. So that role, I think there's going to be a specific role for him. And obviously, you keep making plays, and that role expands and expands and expands. So I think maybe in years past, he didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel of how he could be used, where this year I think he really is embracing what that role can be.
Yeah. We talked in between segments about obviously Jafar played at the University of Maryland, and the Terrapins come in, and you always have to be prideful and proud of your alma mater, but talked about the surprise that they have really come in and in the sport of football really have matched well and played well in the Big Ten and look to be a team that's going to be a mainstay in this league in a very tough division. Obviously, they're going to have to compete, but how do you view that?
Well, like I said, it was a little bit shocking, but we watch a lot of their games, obviously, with crossover and scouting other opponents. They were a physical team, and that was the one question I think you had bringing Maryland and Rutgers. Could they hold up physically in the Big Ten with such a physical style of play in our league? And they did a great job, I'll tell you that, and I think their future's bright.
Yeah. Questions?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we have any from people?
Yeah, I think our chat is down, so that's why I haven't had any.
The one thing we haven't talked about is leadership. I mean, I think, obviously, I keep saying the word youth and young and all those kind of things, but do you want, and again, we talked about this earlier in the week, but do you want one guy? Do you want a collective group of guys? I mean, do you need a vocal leader to really emerge in that room?
Yeah, not really. I mean, you'd like one,
Yeah.
but again, I think leadership is shown a lot through example and how you carry yourself and how you perform in those situations. Sometimes it's hard for me to see a guy being a leader when he's not really a guy who's established himself on the field. So I think that's one of the things that I'm talking to our group about is let's establish an identity for yourself as a player, and hopefully that can carry over into leadership, because sometimes leadership is just leading by example and not necessarily vocal.
Yeah, you have that opportunity. And again, with the young group, it's open for folks to be able to do that. I mean, that would be a clear thing. We also talked off the air, but about the NCAA tournament. It's tournament time, and it's a fun time to talk. Everybody gets excited because, Maryland's going to be a 3 seed. Purdue hopefully will be in the tournament, and looks, I think if the Boilermakers take care of business, they will be able to hit that in the next segment. about the coaches you have other things you like outside of football coaching. What keeps you excited about outside of the daily grind of football? What do you pay attention to?
Like I said, I don't pay attention to basketball probably until March. It's hard to see anybody beating Kentucky.
Yeah, that I would agree.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
But I just kind of relax. I like to spend time with my son a little bit, and when the weather breaks, I ride my bike just about every day, and that's kind of my to me time, self-time.
I don't know if I could keep up with you, but that is actually Tippecanoe County is a great place to ride bikes. It really is. You wouldn't think that, but I like to do that when I know I can't keep up with you from that standpoint. It's you have that ability to downtime is hard to find in this business, and you have to pick and choose your spot. You are young, and yet you get to there's pressure to always be on. And how do you talk about exercise and those kind of things? What do you counsel guys that are do you talk among other coaches at other schools about how you recycle, how you refresh what you want to do to be able to get that done?
Well, otherwise for me personally.
Yes.
Well, I've always been of the belief, and I was just talking about this a couple minutes ago, is anytime you get a break or downtime, you need to get away.
Yeah.
You know? So sometimes I'm trying to get out of town because you rarely do get that opportunity to where you could just have your phone off and kind of relax. So anytime you get an opportunity to take a mini vacation or go somewhere, you need to do that.
Yeah.
You
Good.
get to shut your phone off?
Not really.
Okay.
But,
I was like, he allows that?
sometimes because you're still always direct messaging or something like that. So, but for the most part, I'll check my phone every couple of hours as opposed to every 5 seconds.
I think that's why we like to go to bed at night, because you can actually do that. It's hard to answer the phone while you're sleeping. At least I think it is. All right, Jafar, thanks so much for your time. We really enjoyed it, and we're going to look forward to again spring ball starting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week, and then the Boilermakers will be off for a week for spring break, and then back at it all the way leading up to the spring game on April the 18th. So in Ross-Ade Stadium. So Jafar, thanks so much again for your time. We'll look forward to it, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon as well. Brian Newbert will be joining us in 2 minutes. And Gold and Black Live will have basketball talk along with Jerry Palm, who will guarantee us where Purdue is going to be. He probably won't do that, but we'll ask him nonetheless, see where the Boilermakers are headed in the NCAA tournament. So stay tuned again, and we'll look forward to seeing you in 2 minutes on Gold and Black Live.